Carlos Nelson with Cascade Media, and today we have one of our new county legislators on the program, Miss Megan Marshall. How you doing today, Megan?
I'm wonderful. How about you?
Hey, Megan, you already know what the deal is. Run it down. Run down who you are a little bit, and run down really what's going down on the county. We know the tax deal is one of the major
Mhm.
things, but there's more things that's going on in the county than the taxes. And I want you to talk about what your program, why you got involved with the county, and uh how you see the new legislature making a difference in how politics and how things have been done in Jackson County. I know that's a whole lot, but
And
the
I wasn't
ball is
taking
in
notes.
your court, Megan.
Okay, so I am the third district at large legislator for the Jackson County Legislature, and all that means is that I represent the entire county. And so, being elected or taking office in January, we were off to the fire hose was on, so to speak. We had a lot of decisions to make, and not a lot of time, just by the way that the calendar of things go, specifically as it refers to setting a budget, which just sets the tone for the entire year for the county and how it functions. And so, with six of us coming in that are new, learning how things had been done in the past, learning how we can make implementations right on the spot to improve on those things, and then learn from things that we're experiencing along the way, I think has really forced us as a group, all nine of us as a group, to collaborate together on those things that we, agree on right out the gate, and really just take that concerted effort to make things better, which that's what we, I truly believe all nine of us want to do. Of course, each one of us have our own different priorities or different things that we would like to see done based on, our different passions or what our constituents want to see in their individual communities. Three of us are at large, and there's the other six that represent in district areas, which is just a smaller portion of the county. And so after we passed the budget and those things started to become implemented, we focused our attention on the outside agency funding, which in short, outside agencies funding is just it's a program that organizations apply for, and they receive grant funding from the county. So we all had a concerted effort to really bring in the community voice of different organizations, and looking at those who typically or tend to have been overlooked by county government in the way that they run this program. So giving an opportunity to those to expand their services and what they do, and working together, we were able to almost double the amount of organizations that we have approved funding for throughout this next year, and then begin to start build out the program to expand that even more going into next year. So it's just a little bit of things that we've been able to do thus far as a new group coming in.
Let's talk about the property taxes. Everybody's on the warpath about these property taxes. I'm glad I live in an apartment. and, and uh, but they seem to be a problem with people saying they're doubling and they're this and they're not assessed right. How are you standing up under the barrage, and your has uh, your constituency uh, been blowing your phone up?
Yes, I've had I would say about 90% of my engagements, whether it's over the phone or email, is around property taxes. The past 2 weeks, the chairman, Chairman McGee, and myself, we led three different workshops across the county with partnering with MCC because they allowed us to use their space. And so we realized, very quickly how convoluted this process was and confusing that it was, and also, recognizing the huge divide when it comes to just working the process. So we set up 3 different workshops where we had the Board of Equalization representative as well as the Director of Assessment come, but then we also had real estate agents who volunteered their time to come and help the residents start their appeals process, and also give them the resources because you need source documents when you do your appeal, but provide that service for the residents so that they left more informed and with the more way forward. And so I like to, use the kind of analogy that as a legislature, we are building the plane as we fly it. We're in a really, really just unfortunate situation. And we're trying to help residents through it while we, put parameters in place and put our heads together so that we're never in this situation again in the future. And so, 90% of my interactions now are about property tax assessments. And, I take personal pride in knowing that every single person I talk to or interact with, I treat their situation as if it was my very own, with following up with them, because I realize that it can be very frustrating and frightening, especially for our elders who, don't fool with computers. And it's just, it can be overwhelming. And when you're in fear of, losing your home or anything, you need someone there that can actually help you through the process while you're just trying to wade through it. And so that's what I believe all my colleagues and I all have tried to do, in our own way.
You're so generous because I don't think all your colleagues are trying to do that. But
I believe the heart's in the right place.
yeah, right. What I wanted to ask you, how do you feel on a 1 to 10 those sessions went and were received? Measured.
The work.
Yes.
I think from the residents, I will say, I think it was received very well. I would say a 10. And I say that
Hey,
because
hey, Megan.
what?
A 10?
I think it was, and this is why I say that. This is why I say that. Our first session was at MCC Blue River, and we've had about probably maybe 300 or so, 400 or so people there. Talking to those individuals as they were leaving, and just asking them, was this helpful for you? Did you get out? And just about every single person that left said yes. They left with more information than what they came with. And if nothing else, they know what they need to do next. Now, were there, people there who, were just upset and frustrated? Absolutely, there were. But our goal was to make sure that people left with more information and more resources than they did.
Well, I'm giving it a 9.
Okay, we'll give it a 9. All right.
And let me say this, Megan. I think you one of the few credible politicians around.
Why would you give it a 9 though? Tell me that. What was your feedback?
Because no matter how you see it in your prism, there are other people that are seeing it different, and I'm just giving them the little 1%. Because this is where I'm at on a lot of different things. The more you know, the more you really know that you don't know. Even when you think something is one way, there's room to, you might be in the same book, on the same page, but a different paragraph.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
And when we talking to each other in general, a lot of times we think we understand what the person is saying, but we're on the same page, but we still not on the same paragraph.
I got you. Yeah, that's fair.
All right. So now let's keep it moving. Do you feel that you've had the ability to create coalitions? Because you can't make no moves in politics without building coalitions?
I do. I think that situations like this that we're in with the assessments forces my colleagues and I to fortify those coalitions. Like I said in the beginning, about things that we genuinely agree on, and providing relief to our residents is the leveling the leveling ground for all of us. So I think through each situation that we go through, coalitions either get stronger or that's where we start to build. So yeah, absolutely, yes.
All right, let's move on to this Jackson County jail that was trying to be built for the last century. Uh, they might break ground before we get to Mars, but tell me what you know about that.
Well, we did a vote to move forward on construction of the jail, so that's underway. I will say that in some form, we do need a new detention center because the current one we have is not adequate conditions for those that we do
I
have.
think we hold it. I think that's not even a question. Do we
What's
need
the
a
question?
new? Yeah, that's out there. But
Okay,
when are we
what's the
gonna get
question?
it built? I seen the sheriff and somebody and something. They had some shovels out the other day.
No, you didn't.
They're talking about they. I'm like, man, cut it out. All right, so
No, we're not putting Sheriff Forte
yeah, all
to
right. Let's keep it moving. All
the
right.
time that they've provided for us is within 2 years as far as it being open. That's the timeline. Of course, timelines can always shift, but that is the timeline as
Everything
we
shifts around there.
it
Let me
does.
say this.
We're closer now than we were a year ago. I'll say that.
All right, because you have sat on school boards, uh, and when
Mhm.
I'm interviewing county or the city and what have you, I want to ask you, especially with the urban core schools, KCP school district, and what have you, how can the county help with their budget? Because the school systems are not going to run properly unless the counties and the cities come in and give them more support than what they've had in the past. And because you've been part of the educational, real proud of you being on board out there. And for real, I'm saying,
Thank
see,
you.
we're a black network, and we're concerned with things that are concerning people of color. And
Mhm.
to me, I don't make no apologies because the majority community owns 100% of all forms of communications. And so I think it's incumbent upon me to try to really be real and get real information, not
Mhm.
the story, the story that the company or the legislature body is putting out, getting the story from the people I know. And I try to keep it real simple,
Yeah.
where you're saying, and my community can look at what you're saying, not the sound bite, not the edited version. And
Mhm.
uh you know that's why I do what I do, because I think it's my fiduciary responsibility to give that as they say, straight talk. So
Yeah.
uh this is what I want to know. Now I want to get a little personal. You had to you How old is your daughter now?
I have two
Yeah,
daughters.
and what are they doing? Because you're a mom, besides all this political stuff. Talk
I
about some of your mommy duties real quick.
Well, my oldest daughter, she will actually be 21 this next week. She'll be 21 next week. She's going into her senior year at K-State. She is a double major. She's majoring in sales and Spanish. And she is man, I'm really proud of her. She is fulfilling an internship this summer, putting her majors and her areas of focus to work. So this is my first summer um, without her being here, so it's a little different. But I'm very very proud of her. My other daughter, she is 13, so she'll be going into eighth grade. And she's making her drastically different than her older sister. She brings the noise. My younger one, my older one's a bit more
I want
serene.
the one that bring the noise.
That's her. And so I'm very proud of her too. Both of my daughters are very independent, individual thinkers. They're not afraid of, commanding a room, and they just do it differently. But I'm very, very proud of the young ladies that they're turning out to be.
So tell me this. Let's get back on your job. The
Okay.
think about these stadiums, all the stadium talk
Mm-hmm.
for downtown. What's your take on it from a legislature point of view and possibly from a personal point of view?
I think where those two opinions merge, um, any discussion around moving a stadium, any type of development of any kind, displacement is at the forefront of my mind. And what I mean by that is, if a developer, stadiums, whatever it is coming into a community, my concern is those individuals, those residents who are already there, the displacement of them, and also what type of benefit is that area going to receive. When you talk about jobs, you talk about just the accessibility when you get into like the urban core. When you talk about accessibility to basic things, grocery stores and things like that. And so if the neighborhood is going to benefit and the residents that are there are going to benefit, that's the lens that I like to look at those things from, whenever we're having these types of discussions, but whether it be a stadium or some other type of, development coming into an area.
Do you feel that the new legislature body can work with the city? It's always been a bunch of friction uh,
Mm-hmm.
with the county and the city to better move the city forward. Do you think that you can speak for the county side per se is in the right frame of mind to move forward on some a progressive agenda for Kansas City and not leaving out people of color?
I think that, yes, I'm very optimistic about that. And I say that because, along with my colleagues, just in my short time, I've seen a lot of us, whether collectively or individually, intentionally go out into the community to get, their voice and their input. And I see that too on the city council side as well, with Kansas City. And then with the new members coming in, I think that the overall consensus, or just the feeling, is that there is, that want to collaborate when you talk about intergovernmental stuff. The want, I think, is there to collaborate. And I think just from, my short time of looking from the outside, now being on the inside, I feel like there's a lot more eagerness and willingness to want to collaborate amongst. And I think that's a good thing when you have a bigger turnovers in local government, is that everyone has fresh ideas and we want to work together on things we can work together. And I think by and large, everybody benefits when you just come to the table with that open mindset.
Tell me this. I know you
Mhm.
only been in there a tit and a tat. What would you like to hang your? I was gonna say hang your skirt on, but hang your hat on as it relates
Yeah,
to
hang my hat.
what
Uh-huh.
what what you've done thus far that you're proud of.
I think, well, two things. I'm really proud of, from the beginning up until now, the type of relationship building that my colleagues and I have been able to do. And I think it's through a lot of the tension and friction that we've had from the beginning. Um, on an individual, I guess, basis, I'm really proud that, well, this is also with the support of my colleagues too, with establishing a veterans committee within the county. My colleagues were very, very supportive of my desire to do that. And they've also shown themselves very, very supportive of the things and ideas that I've talked about so far in helping our veterans. So I'm really proud and excited about just our relationship building and helping them collaborate on different things that they're doing in their communities. So it's just really an exciting time in local government for what can be. And so that's what I would say is the
Well,
most.
what I would say is I'm proud that I didn't know that, right? But
Mhm.
off camera, I mentioned to you your necklace around
Yes,
your neck, right? And
always.
you got your
Yeah.
Marine Corps. It's like I haven't forgotten where I come from, and now I'm in position. I'm gonna
Mhm.
shed some more light on what's happening to our veterans, and I can be proud of you, knowing that you haven't forgotten where you come from, not just as a person of color, but the organizations that you served with.
Mhm.
And you have to be feeling really good about the Marine Corps for, as I told you, you didn't come on my radar until I seen you getting ready. So I'm like, who's this woman in the Marine suit? And I thought it was an excellent presentation. And from that point on, as I said, you had your tennis shoes on and you were running. And the more I learned about your character and where you had been and so forth, I don't have a whole lot of respect for politicians. They lie so damn much and all of that. But I had a lot of respect for you, and hopefully can keep that. And the one last thing, or maybe not last, how you feel about this Andrew Jackson statue being removed?
Well, that I was very clear, I think, on where I stood from the beginning. Uh, I'm not gonna debate about what type of person Andrew Jackson was because I think it's pretty clear. His actions, when he was Major General Jackson up and through President Jackson, is just deplorable. But when it comes to actually removing the statue, I believe there's a right and a wrong way to do things. And the voters already voted one way. So to override and not accept the outcome of that election is not what democracy is. And so going in and overriding the voters just because as a legislative body we could do that, I don't believe that was the right thing to do. And as I shared with my colleagues, and we were able to do last week, if they want to put it back on the ballot and let the voters have a say, then I would be supportive of that. But just going in and overriding the results of an election because of our personal feelings and what we believe and know to be true about Andrew Jackson is not, that's not democracy. That's not my definition of democracy. That's not what I swore an oath to do.
All right. Hold it. That sounds reasonable to me. Hold it. I don't even know what the heck the voters voted on about that statue, but there is, boy, see, you're making me act civil. There, there is a right way. I'm saying you're making me rethink how I'm thinking about things.
Good, good, yeah.
Uh, there is a right way and a wrong way. Yeah, I'm more like tear it down. But if the people voted for one thing, then that's the problem with government. They managing from the top down instead of from the bottom up. And that's what you just made me see. Like I told you, I don't it's too much going on with politics and everything for me to be reading every article. I don't even read is what is affecting me in my life without reading the paper. When I go out and interact, those are the type of things I want to talk about to individuals like yourself. In
Mhm.
closing, what
Yes.
would you have to say to our community?
I would tell our community that right now is an exciting time in local politics. I would say that I understand how difficult it is, like you just said, Mr. Nelson, about keeping up with everything, reading everything. And if any resident watching this has questions about anything, um, please, you can reach out to my office directly and we will help. Because one thing that I have learned very quickly, and I really want to try to make an impact on, is just the information gap on local government and how it impacts your lives, and you know which part of government touches what aspect of your lives, and really empowering our residents to use their power that they have on us as elected officials so that we can work better for you. So that would be my, I guess, my final ask, yeah, of our residents. You don't have to get involved and get, you know, into the nitty gritty, but I want to at least be a resource for those who just want to know how to make, you know, their daily lives easier and better. That's really what I want to be. So please reach out. If I don't have the answer, I'll find it.
Well, I had to steal. I like to make fun of this guy, Jim Watts. He's one of the co-founders of What's Up Kansas City, and he's over at the Black Archives of Mid America as an omnibudsman. But Watts always be trying to close the program with, "It was a plum pleasing pleasure having you on the show." And I'm like, Watts, cut out all the damn niceties. What's wrong with you, son? He's always positive. You know, the glass is always half full, and keep all the negativity away from him. And I'm always making fun. But as we always close, when you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself. Good night.
Program is brought to you by the Kansas City Business Association.